when you've had a flat performance, a defeat against the bottom club, you know what people are going to be saying on the outside. I guess another of these moments really important to keep on an even keel, to dial down the emotion as much as you can.
Yeah, in some respects, yes. In other respects, you need to play on emotion to make sure that performances aren't flat, and that you stand up when things get tough, fight in the right way, and be ready to outwork oppositions and do what we do best. So, like I said at the weekend, I think in the last 3 league performances, our performances haven't been at the same level as our best performances this year. Many of the performances prior to that were quite good and fairly strong. And in the run of only 1 win in that period of time, we should have beaten Port Vale. We know we could have had a real turning point penalty that should have been at Barnsley to make it 2-1 in sense that ended 3-1. And we should have beaten Shrewsbury having got 1-0 up. And despite the game not maybe being exactly as we'd have hoped it would have been, a win in that game or in any of those other moments would have made it look quite different to now. Confidence is a strange thing, it can disappear quite quickly, but at the same time we've just got to get over it and get on with it and go and deliver a performance against the top team in the league so far, and make sure that we play with the right amount of emotion firstly, because that means you've got to be spirited and hard-working and tenacious and aggressive. That's the right emotion that we need to play with, and courage as well to make sure we take the ball and do what we do. And it will probably look quite different to the previous games where everyone expects us to get a result. Probably no one gives us a cat and hell's chance in this one, so it's up to us to try and prove that wrong.
Yeah, confidence is such a mystery, such a fascinating part of football, and I suppose a good example really at the weekend of how you can get into a bit of a confidence doom loop, in that you have the shortage of confidence, concede early, that of course doesn't help the confidence, and on you go.
No, it doesn't help when you concede early, definitely, and you can get rattled, but there's still 90 minutes left in that game. It's a brilliant finish. We can defend the periods leading up to that a bit better, definitely, but we've dissected that this morning, and it, when you know what's wrong, you can try and solve it and do something about it. That's what we've got to do. We've got to try and put right the wrongs of the performance and the result, knowing that the league's very, very close, and any time you can get a couple of back-to-back results or a win, it can change quite quickly. You only got to look at the 1 or 2 that have had that, and then you look at the league, you look at some big hitters that have struggled to score and get results recently. Then you look at everyone's in similar situations or in their own right, and for us it's just about trying to find that next level. And when you don't play so well in a couple of games, you don't pick up points in a couple, everyone thinks that you're never going to win another game again. Well, that just isn't true, is it? We know we will do, but we've got to find the level of performance that gives us a better chance of doing that, and obviously it will look a different kind of game. I think it won't be a game that we're expected to dominate the ball in and expected to get a result from, and those games are always difficult. But at the same time, no games are easy, no teams are easy to get results against. We played a really spirited team at the weekend that did simple things better than us. It was a really simple game at Cheltenham, but we didn't do the simple things well enough. But enough moments where we might have taken a chance, set play moments, and you just got to play for those to try and turn the game in your favour. But we didn't do it, so we've got to do that tomorrow. We've got to do that on Saturday against Carlisle, and we've got to get back to scoring points again quickly.
Yeah, it can feel like you're a million miles away, I suppose, after a game like Saturday. But do you feel that actually you're fairly close?
Yeah, but no one really cares if they think you're close. They only care if you win. So we are close. Games have been really close. There's not a lot in any of the games that we've played. Even the game that had the biggest scoreline against us, there wasn't a lot in it at all. I think games are really tight, and we've just got to become a more creative force with the ball. We've got to make sure we're courageous with it. We use our attacks well, whether that's the cross, the last pass, the bit of movement that gets us in, the little bit of quality in the weight and time in the pass when we're counter-attacking. But the games are really close. There's not been a lot in them at all, really, in a lot of the games that we've played. And there's not so many teams we're going to blow away in this league, so we can't expect that, and we don't expect that. But we do expect better than the last couple of games in terms of our level, because we've shown in the early part that we can do that. So it's our job now to just get back to that again. We're 13 games in, and we've got a heck of a lot of football to play ahead of us, and another 3 quick games in fast succession, and we need to get some points from them. And if we can do that and keep building the cushion on the teams below us, that's the key. The difference in the margins are very tight at the moment. That Shrewsbury game to the best significant point, see that out, we're 10th in the league, everything feels different, looks different, performances can take off because of that. So we've got to find that consistent level, we've got to find the confident level, we've got to do what we do best, and part of that is confidence, and part of that is just pull your finger out, don't feel sorry for yourself, get on with it, and play like a proper footballer and a proper football team, and look like Cambridge United teams have looked in the last majority of periods of time, because when we do that we know we can compete with everyone. And even in the games where we haven't taken points this season, or we haven't quite hit the level that we want, we're banging the games, there's not a lot in them, and we've got to turn a couple of those in our favour.
You mentioned the challenge you're facing Portsmouth at the moment. They've got good momentum, and you can pick out all sorts of stats, all sorts of areas where they're really hitting their straps.
Yeah, it's just responding to a team at the top of the league, isn't it? They're just top of everything, really. Defensively very strong, scoring goals, scoring offset plays, highest crossing team in the league. You could go on and on and on. In the end, unbeaten at the start of the season is an incredible run. They're going to lose that run at some point, so it's up to us to try and be the team that does that. But the challenge that a game like that brings when teams are in full flow and rhythm and have got that confidence about their play, that can make it a challenging game. So we know that. We know they've got excellent individuals throughout the whole squad and lots of options throughout the whole squad to change things if they need to. And they've found a lot of different ways of winning games, but they're very consistent in the way in which they've played. We'll have to be very good to be competitive with them, but when we are good, we are very good. So that's our responsibility, to try to find that level as best we can. And when it's difficult, to hang on in and make sure we've got the fight and the spark about us to make something happen, but defend our box properly, because they're certainly a team that force you to do that. And it'll be a tough test for us, but one that we've got to take on with a good energy about us. And it's a good job I'm an optimist, because I totally believe in the players that they can do that, and that we will do that, and that this week we'll find the level that we need to.
With the injury picture, how are you looking ahead of tomorrow?
Yeah, we're good. Everybody from the weekend came through the game absolutely fine, so that's pleasing. And obviously, in terms of just getting people, sort of Adam's first really busy week last week, to go 70 minutes on the Tuesday and then big again on the Saturday, he's just getting fitter. Obviously, when a lot of players miss that pre-season period, you have to use this as it. Jordan's still chipping away and adding to his minutes, but everybody else came through the game fine. So we've got a full house to pick from where we were last weekend going in. Soleil was a little bit ill going into the game, so we managed to get him through Friday just, and Saturday a little bit. But he's up to speed now, and hopefully ready to have an impact as well.
And just to finish, I don't know whether you're able to speak about this as yet, but Jimmy Unwin posting online that he's moving on, presumably a big loss for the club, not least because of what happened in the Youth Cup last season. Yeah,
Jim's been great, absolutely brilliant for us. I think 5, nearly 6 years in the role, it's a tough job. That under-18s coach is tough at any club, I think, and particularly the last sort of 3 or 4 years here, we've been so deprived of training facilities, we've been so deprived of the COVID era, being a youth team, first team really split, that we've hardly spent any time together over the last few years. So it's been a tough few years for him, but he's had some brilliant results in terms of football results, but education results, and the way in which he's managed that programme has been great. So yeah, he'll be a loss, it'll be an opportunity for somebody else as we move on. That's just the change in nature of football, I think, but he's done what every single person that we ever say has to, and whether a staff or player, we always talk about making the place better for your time here, and making sure that you leave something behind you that shows a really strong club because of it. Some of that's in memories, and he's created some brilliant ones for those young lads, and some of that's just in the quality of your work as well. So yeah, brilliant for him. We'll miss him, and we wish him well, but he's been brilliant for us for sure.
Is the transition there all sorted? Have you got somebody new to come in, or will that take a little while just to work out? Yeah, no, they've gone through the process of that at the moment, so that's Ben Strang and Dom Knighton's job to do that. It's not something I'm involved in, so they are working through the process of interviewing and everything else at the moment, so that will be dealt with in due course, and I'm sure the sooner the better, because we've got interim things in place for people. But yeah, as soon as that's sorted, we'll obviously announce that.